For those of you who might struggle with anger and frustration at times, like we all do, what I'm going to talk about in this video, which is acceptance, forgiveness, and understanding, might help you just like it has helped me learn this and understand this all over the years. So when I talk about acceptance, first of all, I'm talking about two separate forms of acceptance which we can focus on, which I believe can help. And example number one is accepting a situation for what it is, to say it is what it is. So when something happens, some things we can control and some things we can't control. So accepting of what has happened and that we can't control, and then looking to what we can control from the situation. Form number two I'm talking about is acceptance and forgiving others through understanding why someone might have done what they did, even though you thought they did it to hurt you. I'll talk about that more in the second half of the video. So let's look at some examples. So example number one, I'm talking about acceptance of a situation and understanding what we can control and can't control. I went for a walk with my 5-year-old daughter, Grace, recently. And on the walk, she was chewing a lolly. She bent over and the lolly fell out of her mouth. And usually she'd probably just pick it up, but it was so dirty she couldn't pick it up. And when she realized this, she started bawling and screaming. This was a prime example of not being able to accept a situation that had happened for her, that had affected her, right? So this is an example of something that had happened and she could not control the situation, but she still screamed for 10 minutes afterwards and cried, when she would have been finished that lolly in 10 seconds. The reaction was way past what the good that would have come from that situation. Anyway, this is like an extreme example for a young child, but I bet if we all thought about this, you could think, what else in our lives can we relate to, irrational feelings over losing something? This can be different for everyone. You could be losing something small that you own. Maybe think of a time when that might have happened to you, and maybe think if accepting that situation, you might have been happier afterwards immediately, because being upset didn't change the situation. Example two is in your business, right? Because if you're listening to this, you're probably a business owner, probably a massage therapist, and earn money for yourself and your family, right? But here's an example. Someone you book in doesn't show up. They give you no warning. They don't show up, which means you don't have time to replace them. You're ready for them. It's easy to get angry at this situation. And I'm not saying I would be any better, but I'm saying the difference is holding on to the anger. So if something has happened like this, it's okay to get a little bit angry, a little bit frustrated, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the sooner you can come to the realization in these situations that this has happened, it's not good. It's not absolving this person from what's happened, but it's happened and we can't change the situation. We can get angry for a little bit, but what's the point of getting angry for hours about this? What if we accepted the situation like this, that it's happened, accept it as soon as possible, and then now we can look at what can we do to fix this from happening in the past, or to reduce the damage from this happening in the past. And these are all different videos, which I'll be actually, funnily enough, doing a video next about dealing with no-shows and cancellations. But all I'm trying to say is once you accept something sooner than later, we can get rid of all the anger. You can get through your day without putting yourself through all this stress, all this anger, which is not good for our health and not going to have any other positive effects on our life. And then we can figure out what we can do to stop this from happening again, or improving the situation as soon as possible. Example three with acceptance is, I'll give you another example from my life, is when I became a personal trainer, I'd lost a lot of weight. So I lost about 30 kilos, about 28 kilos from when I was in high school and after high school to when I was in my early 20s. And I got into health. I got into becoming a personal trainer. And when I got into health and losing weight, unfortunately, I wanted to change other people around me because I cared about my family. Unfortunately, none of my family were into health. My mom was overweight. My dad was overweight, still are. But I wanted to change these people, not because I didn't like them. I cared about them, right? And I tried to get them to come to my gym. I tried to help them with their food. We'd go to family dinners and I'd see like my dad, who wasn't in good health, eating the wrong foods, not exercising, not doing any good for his health. He's drinking, blah, blah. And it used to really frustrate me. It used to really get to me because I just could not believe that he didn't want to get healthy like me. It took me a long time, but I eventually accepted that I could not control other people. I could not control them, even if I was trying to help them. That was an example of me coming to the realization of what I could control and what I couldn't control. I have a lot less frustration now when I go around to family dinners and my parents are like eating the wrong foods that I think are the wrong foods, and they can just live their life. I can live mine, and I can offer the help, but it's there if they want it, and if they don't want it, that's up to them. So that's just an example. So maybe we all have someone in our life who are trying to change, and I get, if you're a parent, right, you do have that responsibility to help change your children, but like, it's outside your children, maybe you might be holding on to something that you might be able to let go of. I just want to take a second to ask you for a small favor. If you're finding this video helpful, if you could just tap the like button underneath it, I'd be really grateful. That will tell the YouTube algorithm to share this video with more massage therapists around the world. And hopefully that will help them all earn more income, which is what they deserve. Thanks for helping. All right, so acceptance is one thing, and then we're going to look at accepting the actions of other people and forgiveness and understanding, because it kind of falls in a similar category. So what I'm talking about here is usually when someone has done something that has hurt us, and I'll give you more examples, right? So I'm going to give an example from me first, and then I'll give you some other examples. So, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has pain from their childhood over things that their parents might have did. So one example is I have a stepfather, and we get along now, but it took me a long time to accept some of the things he did when I was a child, and he didn't treat me well. And I held on to this pain and anger for so long, like probably 10 years. Like, he wouldn't talk to me, I wouldn't talk to him, and it's just really awkward, right? We just would not talk to each other whenever we see each other. And that went two ways. He didn't talk to me either. But it took me a long time. And what changed for me was I read a book, and I was into all this stuff when I was learning about it. But I read one specific book, I think, that helped me the most. And that was a book by Eckhart Tolle. It's called A New Earth. And the book title sounds a bit weird, and that's why I held off reading it for a while. I read his first book, The Power of Now, first. And A New Earth, I held off reading it because the name sounded weird, but I honestly say it's probably one of the best books I've ever read. It talks about a lot of things, but one of the things that really came out of that for me was understanding why people do what they do. So for example, just say my stepdad did things to hurt me. I can look at it like he is a bad person, and he is this and he is that, and I can be angry towards him. But I could also look at it a different way, and I can think, why did he do those things to me? I can think, I can have empathy, and I can say maybe his parents treated him bad like that. His parents did those things to him, to hurt him. And then that's all he knew. That's all he knew as a parent. He grew up in a different time to me where there was no like self-help books and reading these things and learning. And so he just did the same things to me, treated me the same way his parents treated him. And when I thought of it like that, I thought, like, I could forgive him. You know what I mean? I could accept. It's not easy, but you can accept and understand. You can forgive, and we talk now, and it's fine. He's a different person now. He's mellowed out a lot. But I'm not picking on my stepdad. I'm just saying this is the same for anyone. I'm sure you have issues. Not you, but like, I'm sure most people have issues from their parents, how they acted. It could be your mum or your dad did something and you're angry at them, but you might get some closure and feel better inside if you tried to understand why they did that. What was their life like? How were they raised? What was going on in their life? What caused them to do these things? And it is a little bit of absolving them, but you don't have to say what they did was right. You just have to understand why someone does this. And it's not just in your personal life too. It relates to business as well. So I'll give you an example for business. The example is, what if you run an ad or a marketing campaign, or you're looking in your Facebook messages one day and a client wants to book in with you. They've sent you a message and said they want to book in with you for a massage. You respond back to them and you talk to them, what time would you like to book in? And then they never get back to you. This is very frustrating because they have said they wanted to book in with you. You've tried to follow up with them. You've followed up with them multiple times. They don't respond to you. It's easy to get angry at that situation, right? It's easy to feel frustration at people who do this to your business because it is your business. You need these clients to make money and survive. But what if you thought about it in a different way. What if that person, their child was in a car accident and they couldn't see you and they were just focused on that? What if their parents got sick, their dad got sick and they had to look after them? What if they didn't have much money and they just got some money and they needed to put that money out on food or something, like a bill that came up? You don't know what other people are going through, and that is just one way to understand. Like, there is probably a good reason why they didn't respond to you. So that's just one example, understanding why people do what they do, it might not be malice, it might just be a situation popped up for them. The final example I'll give before I wrap this video up is, if you are a business owner, you can actually relate this to your child or your employee. Just because you might not actually own a business and have staff, but if you've ever had staff, you'll relate to this. And if you don't have staff, you can relate the same situation to a child. Even though I'm not saying staff are children, I'm just saying as a business owner, you need your staff to do things that you need, and same with your children. So I'm going to give the example of a staff member. So just say you ask a team member to do something that they know they should be doing, whether it's cleaning their room after them, whether it's following a procedure with following up with a client, or answering the phone the right way, or doing a massage the right way. Whatever you've asked them to do, they didn't do it. Now, it's easy to get angry at this person or frustrated because they know the rules, like they know the procedure, they didn't do it. You can get frustrated, and you probably should get frustrated. But instead of getting frustrated and holding on to that, if we can put those feelings of frustration aside sooner, then we can look at, why didn't this person do this? Was it because they just blatantly ignored everything? Is a possibility. Or is it because maybe they might not have understood the procedure well enough? They might not have been trained well enough. Something else might have popped up that was important and they slipped their mind. What I'm trying to say is, instead of getting angry, let's look at why. What you can control. What you can't control is what's happened. What you can control is what you can stop doing it again. That's just an example of understanding and forgiving and accepting. I'll wrap the video up there, guys. I appreciate you watching this. I hope in some way this may have opened your eyes. You probably already know all this stuff. I'm assuming you might have. If you do understand this stuff, maybe give an example under the video of a time when you've used acceptance and forgiveness and understanding and it's really helped you. If you've never been exposed to these kind of ideas, I hope this has helped in some way, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be business related. I just do these videos sometimes because business is one thing, making money is one thing, but like being happy in life is important too. So every now and then I do these kind of videos. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.